Alrighty, here we are back for part 2 of the fairy tale house, which when it goes up on the gallery will be called Simderella's house. So we're just finishing off on the older teenagers bedroom, and now we've gone down to the bottom floor and we've started work in the kitchen, and I've tried to keep it as much as possible looking like it's old or medieval or whatever, aside from the microwave and the dishwasher, because I mean you've got to keep them happy, and having them wash all the dishes by hand, whilst it might be appropriate for Simderella might not like it too much. So again, I mentioned in the first part that the milk pails would probably be part of poor Simderella's tools. So I've included a bunch of them here, ready for her to take out in the morning and do the milking. And so I've turned the kitchen into a really, not just a working kitchen, but it's also storing a lot of their precious things, like all of the nice coffee pots here. And it's also the place where the dog slash cat slash whatever will probably eat. So I've put down both of the plain dog bowls, and here I am again trying to fill up the bay window with plants, and you can see that one just turning blue, so I'm assuming that even though it let me place it because of the move objects cheat, that when it was blue it probably wasn't properly placed, so I managed to place it a little better, I think. Lighting is always an issue, so that's why we've got a spread of these ceiling lights around. And now I'm really just toying with the layout. I had a couple of things in mind, and then I changed my mind, and then I changed my mind back again, and then I changed it to something else. So you'll see that the layout for the bottom floor goes through a couple of transformations as we go, and I really wanted to make it a lot like one of those, perhaps an older Victorian house in the styling of it, but also perhaps one where the inhabitants were more concerned with appearances than with the actual wealth that they had. So as you're walking around the house, you might see the odd little hole in the wallpaper or the odd little scratches or water stains, because they're more concerned about accumulating things. The evil stepmother wants her daughters to marry well, so it's all about appearances. And as you get closer up to Simderella's tower, or her little room at the top of the tower, things deteriorate more. So I do go back to the kitchen in a little while and put some more cupboards in, but here we are in the dining room, just trying to think about what would be the best layout. So we've gone for 8 chairs, and another one of those gorgeous items from the Sims Pets is that corner couch, which is just gorgeous. There's an outdoor one as well, which I haven't used, but they've got lots of really lovely swatches, and it really makes a cute little corner in there that's kind of like a corner where you could retreat to after your meal for a bit of a snuggle with your honey, or perhaps somewhere where you could curl up with a book, or perhaps sit with your cross stitch or something like that under the window, where there was some decent light. And again, I really like the look of paintings sort of sitting on surfaces like they're leant up against the wall. So here's one it's just sitting on the top of a table, and there's one sitting on the floor beside it. And we've got twin Siamese cats there. Siamese is my absolute favourite breed of cat ever. And Helpful Cat, who you have heard a few times, is in fact Siamese. And Helpful Cat has a nephew here, and he's an Oriental, which is a Siamese, but solid coloured rather than just with the colours on the ears and the face and the legs and the tail. So here we are decorating the dining room, and all of my rooms I like to pick kind of a theme, certainly in the more formal areas, and in this room we've gone for a sort of a black and cream or a black and warm tan sort of colour, but I also like to put a little bit of a pop of colour in as a bit of contrast, and we've done that, you can see, with the sunflower, the yellow in the two sunflower paintings, and some sort of the pinky magenta colour in the vases in the little nook. So now we've moved into the living room, and again Victorian styling with those frilly sort of curtains. There isn't a television in this room. As I said, the only bit of real technology, aside from the microwave and the dishwasher, is the computer upstairs. And I found these wooden statues really interesting and a little bit irritating because they change when you place them. Perhaps you could tell me in the comments what that is all about, because I don't know what it's all about. And the dogs playing poker. Oh my gosh. My grandmother used to have one of those paintings with the dogs smoking cigars and in a smoky room playing poker, or, you know, cards or whatever around a green felt table. So it really, really made me think about my grandmother's house and what the items that she would be likely to have in her house, if this was hers. So the living room is sort of that dark chocolate and a pinky, sort of like a dusty pink, and it looks very old-fashioned and very very staid and very sterile. Not sterile so much meaning clean, but probably a room that only guests would be invited into, and it wouldn't be used for any other reason. So now we've gone out into, there's like a little vestibule between the living room and the entrance hall, and this is where people would wait to be invited in. No sitting in there, just a little bit of a display of items and you know, perhaps to impress people a little bit. But again, this painting's on the floor, you know, and perhaps things aren't being maintained as well as they could be. So I really like the old-fashioned and slightly fading feel that you kind of get by putting those few water stains and things around. So, and there's our little pop of colour. We've got a white dresser to put items on. And now I think we're going in to do the butler's room. Oh, well, no, we're doing the entrance hall. And just making sure that that's complete. And oh no, look at that. Nope. I kind of see items and I think, oh, that could go there, and check, and no, it really couldn't. So here you can see me searching the catalogue over and over. I was looking for an item from the Pets expansion, and that one wasn't it. That's an item that you put in the hallway, that you put your, there you go, I've changed it to the Pets expansion and found it finally. You would put your keys on, or your umbrella, you know, and so I've chosen to fill it with plants and a couple of statues, and oh, there you go, some letters, the mail. And it's likely that that is where people would leave their calling cards back in Victorian times, would be left in probably on a silver platter there. So now we're into the ladies' bedroom, and I've gone for something that's really princessy and quite over the top. And here I am remembering that I forgot to put lights in, so we've just replaced the lights. And yeah, back into the master bedroom. And again, this is the back hallway that leads to the butler's suite, so we don't pay too much attention to that. So we've gone for pink and white and that pale grey. So we have a lovely little dressing table here that we're going to fill up with perfumes and, you know, nail polish and things like that, where all of the ladies' items would be. And again, a little bit of contrast with that table with the white marble top. It's just a bit of colour to draw your eye towards that area. Putting the curtains on the wall there, giving it the appearance of a four-poster bed without taking up all that room. And again, the frilly curtains, that very Victorian. I think they come from the Vampires pack, which I really, really enjoyed, by the way. And a couple of lights here so that the lady can be bathed in their peachy glow. And some nice rugs for her to put her toes into when she gets out of bed, finally gets out of bed. I won't say in the morning, but in the afternoon. A little couch in the corner and a little bit of a darker pink just to get a bit of contrast. And again, that buffet or footstool or ottoman, whatever you call it, comes from the Pets pack. And here we are putting some gorgeous items on her dressing table, including some gorgeous pink flowers, and a little bit of contrast colour there with the green in the potted plants. I really, really love this bathroom too. I normally try and skip over bathroom builds for you because, like, what can you do with a tub and a toilet and a sink? But this is so pink, and so, like, it's pink and copper. And we have this fabulous, fabulous mirrors, which you'll see in a minute. I tried the lights going down the sides to start with, but then I had this brilliant idea of putting them over the top, which I really love, and I'm sure that gorgeous pink glow will make even the meanest, wrinkliest face look less haggard. And if you are wanting to put items that are not in the snap points on benches or tables or whatever, first of all, you have to fill up their snap points. So here I've just filled it up with some plants, which I'm going to use on the other side anyway, and now it will just let me raise items up and put them wherever I like, move the bench, get rid of the plants, and done. And they should stay there. You may need to put in the move objects cheat to replace them back in the spaces that I had them, but yeah, they should easily go there if you fill those spaces up. And again, taking away the ceiling light, all of those peachy coloured lights make that light in there beautiful. And I've put a basket of goodies and some bath towels just on the floor beside the bathtub where she can easily reach them without having to get up. In this little front room, I've made a little bit of a study. We've got a chessboard in here so that you can do some skill building, and a bookcase again so you can do some skill building there, and a couple of reading chairs with these gorgeous high-backed chairs again from the Pets expansion. And oh, excuse me, knocking my keyboard off my desk. This room is quite Spartan. I have left a rug out, and I've kind of treated it like it might be a room where it's a little bit forgotten. The lady of the house has no interest in learning or increasing her intellect or reading a book. She's more concerned about getting her daughter's husbands, and it's a room where the items are shoved in there with no attempt to make it pretty or decorative. So I'm sure you can have fun with that one. And out the back, of course, we have a summer house or a gazebo, somewhere where we can go and sit and talk with our potential husbands when it's hot in the summer or in the evening. And again, I often flick backwards and forwards between night and day so I can check that the lighting is sufficient. So on this gazebo, again, I did think about putting a barbecue there, and you'll see I put one there and then I take it away. And I get some beautiful planters in here with some gorgeous flowers. My vision for the outside of this building was for it to be pretty, but not neat pretty. The outside, I wanted to make it a little bit unkempt and a little bit wild. So you'll see when we start getting the actual gardens in, it does get like there's lots of flowers and lots of colour. And here we are with a pond around the gazebo, and we just fill in this green space around the actual gazebo itself with flowers of all colours, and we really pack them in so that there's lots and lots of beautiful colour there surrounding the beautiful gazebo. And as you can see, it's just any colour you can think of. There it is. And I didn't like those plants so much. Some hedges around there just to delineate the space without making them walls or anything like that. So we make this beautiful pond. In a minute we're going to get some rocks going. We've got some lily pads going, and we'll get some rocks around that front bit, and there's some little fountains there. Now I don't know how the fountains would work in this fairy tale era, but they just do. Alright, so they don't have pumps, it's just magic, it's fairy tales, right? And the rocks are really to disguise that front end of the pond. So yep, and we're just doing some terrain painting now with the to put the paths in, rather than using floor tiles. It just makes it a little more organic and a little more natural looking, I think. They look more like they're crazy pavers or stepping stones rather than actual paths. And that letterbox is gorgeous too, with the flowers on the top. And yes, the trees light up, and a couple of those gorgeous dogwood trees, again from the Pets pack. And little hedge, again, I believe that came with Pets. And we are going to put in like a little kitchen garden or a herb garden, and set it up so that it looks like it could have veggies or herbs or whatever growing in there. So it's a great place if you're going to use this for a playthrough, or your just a house in your neighborhood. You could plant vegetables and fruit trees in there, and it would look absolutely gorgeous, I think. So we're just getting some trees in. Those white birch trees have some gorgeous variations, so I tried to get a couple of the really bronze toned leaves in for a bit of variation in the leaf colours, but I did want to get quite a few trees around this property without completely blocking it off from view, because I know how annoying trees are when you're playing. They can really get in your way. So here we're starting on the actual gardens, and I kind of figured that Simderella, our little Cinderella in this potential scenario, has maybe got a couple of pets that the stepmother either doesn't know about or doesn't want to know about. So she's put her pet training area right at the back behind a hedge, so that, kind of out of sight, out of mind attitude, so that the stepmother won't give her a hard time about it. And now here we are, just covering the front of the building with plants, like all the different coloured flowers that we could find. We have absolutely put a riot of colour around the foundations. Not so much at the back, because again, I kind of figured that this the stepmother would be thinking, I've got to keep up appearances, which is from the front, and not worry so much about what's around the back. So, and it would probably be poor old Cinders that would be doing the gardening anyway, or maybe the butler, or maid, or whoever they had staying in the house. They probably rent out a room for the money. And a little bit of a pop of colour there with a little maple tree, which I'm not sure which pack it came from, so my apologies for that. So you can see we've put a lot of trees around, but tried to keep both the front and the back of the building a little bit clear, so that when you're playing, you have less trees getting in your way. So because that used to really annoy me, and I know you can take them out, blah blah blah, but I just wanted to make it pretty, and like I said, a little bit overgrown, so that it looks like it was a little bit wild without being out of control. And last but not least, as far as the gardening is concerned, is to get some ivy growing up these walls and make it look like this building has been here for a while. And that ivy comes with the vampire pack, and it's, you know, easy to make a few different sort of combinations with. There's only 3 different sorts, but, and again, I say this every time, the most important thing about making your gardens look realistic is terrain painting. And getting that area, because you know that grass doesn't normally grow right up to the trunks of trees. And where flowers are growing, it's not likely that there'll be grass right under where the flowers are. So that's one of the most important things about making your gardens look realistic, is getting that terrain painting, and do it methodically. Start in one place and go around so that you don't miss anything. And here I've gone around and I'm going back. So just adding a little bit more ivy, just to make it look a little bit more how I imagined it. And we do a little bit to the front porch here before we head for the screenshots. A couple of tubs of flowers. Again, I think those flowers came with the Pets expansion. And here come the screenshots. Here is our fairy tale house from the front. I love how it turned out, and this is just a low level shot showing you how the tower is larger and the front door. This is Cinder's pet training area, nice and open so that you don't have trees getting in your way. Our gorgeous little gazebo, perfect place to sit with our potential beau. Here's the entrance hall, again with that white dresser being the focal point, and our fussy little parlour, I guess, sitting room, the dining room ready for 8 people in a much more modern grey and cream sort of style. Our old-fashioned kitchen in black and white with the black floorboards, which I really love. This gorgeous princess bedroom. I honestly would do my room like that, and the beautiful pink bathroom to go with it, which again I really love, and I'm sure that our stepmother will love it as well. The upstairs study with our computer, our bit of modern technology, and the younger child's bedroom. Again, this could be easily girlied up or masculine, how do you say that, masculinated. The same with this one. They're very non-gender sort of. This is our butler's room, where his room is used partially for storage. And up finally, but not, or last but not least, is Cinderella's bedroom and her bathroom, which look like they are so badly neglected. But with so many items, It looks like she really loves being there. And here's the floor plan. If you want to recreate it yourself, I've skipped a couple of levels. This is the first floor, and then down to the ground. I hope you enjoyed our speed build of our Simderella's fairy tale house. Wherever you are, I hope you have a good one.